You know, I've always said that I thought the classified HasLab HISS was a really good looking vehicle, that it was a smart update to an existing vehicle design that's been around since 1983. But I've also been on record stating that I really thought that Hasbro should have done something the way that Skeletron did with the Robo Skull Mark II, where it had interchangeable cockpits. So the vehicle could accommodate 1/18 scale figures as well as 1/12 classified scale figures. I thought that casting a wider net for all existing G.I. Joe fans since 1982 was a smart idea. But that being said, it was a crowd-funded thing. Why did the corporation really care to accommodate collectors of numerous scales? I get it. I'm not going to cry in my Cheerios about that. But I would have honestly backed it. And I would have backed several of them if I could have gotten a HISS in that size, where it could have been like the colossal Command HISS that you see in the Sunbow animated series of G.I. Joe very briefly. But you do see it. I really just didn't want to spend the money on the vehicle. If I was going to have to rip it apart or cut into it with a Dremel or things like that, because it just didn't sit well with me to do that. I'm not going to buy that expensive of a toy to get my Dremel out and just start destroying the cockpit of it so I can put 2 4-inch seats in it. I'm not going to do that. But what if I told you, with only 3 very easy to find pieces and not a lot of steps, you can take a 1/12 scale classified HasLab HISS and convert it to 1/18 scale.
What?
Now, this is a conversion, not necessarily a custom, because everything that goes into converting the classified HasLab HISS into 1/18 scale, it's not permanent. You can take it out immediately.
What the fuck?
The only part of this conversion that takes any real time is waiting for the paint to dry on the seats, if you even choose to paint the seats. That's it. 3 easy to find parts, couple of simple steps, and you can convert the HasLab Classified HISS from 1/12 scale to 1/18 scale. And if you want to go back, just pull the parts out. No damage to the vehicle itself whatsoever in everything that I go over in this video. Huge Goat Scream level shout out to subscriber, channel member, and awesome guy, Viper Scout 70,000. Because it was Viper Scout who reached out to me on Instagram and shared the formula for the conversion of this classified HISS to 1/18 scale. He's the one that came up with it. I'm just the one that recorded it and sent it out to everybody else to see on YouTube. So thanks again, Viper Scout 70,000. I need to thank my friend Jeff W. for graciously sending me the HasLab Classified HISS. Without him, I couldn't have done this conversion. I couldn't do this video. If you're new here, I want to thank you for stopping in. Maybe consider hitting the subscribe button, and let's get into it. All right, so what we got here is the HasLab Classified 1/12 scale Cobra HISS. I haven't seen the vehicle yet. The box is impressive, so if that's any indication, I'm sure I'm going to be pretty blown away by this. I've always said that I thought when Hasbro made the HasLab Classified version of this vehicle that I thought they made a lot of smart updates to it, but I was not going to back it and buy it if I was going to have to take a Dremel to it to convert it into 1/18 scale. That being said, I was given the blueprints, if you will, of how to convert this vehicle into 1/18 scale without damaging this base vehicle at all. Everything is drop in, plug and play, can be removed. So I'm going to give that a whack and we're going to check it out. So it requires 1 HasLab Classified Cobra HISS, 1 Fortnite Whiplash car. Don't even need the whole car. We just need the seats out of this car. I'm sure you see where we're going with this. And 1 retro Walmart exclusive Cobra HISS 3 turret. All we need is the turret from one of these. But I'm going to use the rest of the vehicle for next week's video. So one way or the other, I'm going to open a new one. And look, let's just get it out of the way now. Yes, my busted finger, it's still there. That busted fingernail is still hanging on. So try not to stare at it. It's going to take it personally if you stare at it, so don't do it. Ooh. Okay, so we have this colossal box back on the table. My good friend Jeff W. sent me this as sort of a combination present, mostly as a 50th birthday present. So I was extremely humbled, and to Jeff, thank you so very much for this vehicle, especially since you knew what I was going to do with it, but you still found it in your heart to send me this anyway. Now, I'm going to read the letter from Jeff. I'm going to pull out all the other stuff in this box that is not the HasLab Classified HISS. There's more stuff in this box. If you don't want to see all of this, then just fast forward the video to the timestamp on the screen. Otherwise, let's do it. September 5th, 2024, from the Jeff Shack. Kind of sounds like Jack Shack. Chad, first I want to say thank you. The effort you put into your channel, the sincerity you bring to the dolly collecting hobby, and your unabashed perspectives and thoughts bring untold joy and laughter to myself and many thousands of good people. That was nice. Thank you for dedicating such a large part of your life to serving and protecting our nation. Sacrifices that service members willingly make on a daily basis allow every American and millions around the world a chance at peace and safety. And most notably, thank you for your friendship. Well, thank you, Jeff, for your awesome friendship. Second, congratulations on your retirement. Yeah, that happened. Thank you. There is a sweet and wonderful feeling you attain after so many years of working to wake up and know your time is your own again. That I can definitely agree with. And finally, happy 50th birthday. October 2nd is fast approaching, and 50 years ago you started your journey. Undoubtedly, there have been many triumphs, struggles, losses, miracles, and moments of love and creativity. Here's to another 50 years. I don't think I'm going to make it another 50, but I can try. I'd hang around and hear the 100-year-old Chad doing his car rants. Hell yeah, dude. Your gifts are but a small token to help you celebrate the hobby you have enjoyed for so many years, and I hope they bring you a small measure of joy as you celebrate. Alongside the HasLab HISS, I have included the HMS. So perhaps you can use it for custom fodder or display alongside the HISS. Also, I have for you 6 custom figures. Before I got into collecting action figures about 8 years ago, I was really into Mega Construct's Call of Duty figures. That's pretty cool. I created these custom figures of Flint, Beachhead, Snake Eyes and Timber, Zartan, and 2 Cobra Troopers. I hope they find a spot in your collection, even though they are not in the Lord's scale. Keep on rockin', Jeff W. Well, that is an awesome letter, my friend. And as always, with every letter I receive, and thank you for hand signing that, I will keep this. I keep every letter and note and card that I ever receive. So thank you again for this, my friend. All right, let's crack into the box. Oh yeah, here we go right here. Snake Eyes and Timber. That Zartan's rad. A blue and red Cobra Trooper. Oh, that Beachhead looks great. And Flint. Well, those are awesome, Jeff. I will set those up over by my desk. Thank you very much for these rad figures.
But wait!
I don't know what this is. This might be bad. No, it's a mullet wig. Yeah.
Don't ask questions.
Oh man, I'm gonna put this to use. The different road wheel covers. Okay. Keep reaching in the box here. Oh, well there's the HMS. Tissue paper shit. Let me reach way down in here.
That's what she said.
HMS base. Wheels. Cool. Alright, so I'm gonna do something with this. I don't know what yet. Let's pull this sucker out of the box. Okay, we got it out of the box. This is going to be the first time I'm ever going to physically lay eyes on this vehicle, so let's take a look at it. Wah, 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 wah. Cardboard. Chin guns. The gull wing canopy. The OG bulletproof canopy. Part of the HMS as well. Alright, moment of truth. Holy ass. Damn, that thing is huge.
That's what she said.
Well, I think it's awesome that the tracks are soft and they actually do operate with the drive sprocket and the road wheels. That was a good looking vehicle. Now what we're gonna do with this vehicle, we'll put all the stuff on it. But what we really need to do first is we need to get the seats out of this vehicle and fit them so they just sit right over this. Now, granted, we're going to block a lot of this stuff, which that's some really good detail. But we're going to block some of it. But the fun part is you can just take it all out if you want to make this for 1/12 scale. I don't collect that scale.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I am firmly a collector of the Lord scale 1/18. That being said, I can make this like a colossal hiss or a super hiss. Can't really call it a mega hiss because the Transformer Joe crossover Megatron hiss, well, that's called the mega hiss. So we're just going to leave it at probably colossal hiss. There is fantastic detail on this vehicle. And even though I don't collect the scale, I never really ragged on the vehicle. I'm not a big fan of the crowdfund model, but they made some seriously smart updates to the Cobra Hiss when they upscaled it to 1/12 scale, which, you know, you would expect, not only because it's a HasLab and they're supposed to be dream projects, but also because if you're going to upscale an existing design, go crazy and do this kind of stuff. Like that's what you want to see, like working joysticks and, you know, all these things that actually actuate. Yeah, this thing's rad. We're going to set this vehicle aside for right now, and we're going to focus on getting the seats out of this weird Fortnite wannabe jazz car. Whiplash. I kind of don't want to destroy this car, but they're not very expensive, so I could probably get another one. I might make that jazz. I just might do it. An updated jazz.
A few minutes later.
We're going to open this Fortnite Whiplash so I can get the seats out of it. I just need the seats. I don't have to be too gentle about it. All we want to do is just get into this thing. That's what he said. Sometimes you just got to use your meat hooks and get in there. That's what she said. And for deconstruction purposes, I always use my handy dandy little magnetic mini screwdrivers. All we got to do is just pull all these screws out right here. Well, that already just fell right out. Okay, so getting the seats out of the Fortnite Whiplash is really easy because you can see these little raised pieces. Just had 2 screws right through the bottom of the car in the center, and that held the bottom of the seats and the top of the seats onto those little pegs. So I didn't even need to remove all the screws. Future reference, if you're going to do this conversion, this real easy custom conversion, just take the 2 middle screws out of the Jazzwares Fortnite Whiplash. Cool. I'm going to try to salvage the rest of the car. Seats I can do no problem. So I'm going to put the screws back in this sucker, and then we will move on to getting the gun turret from the Walmart Retro HISS 3. So here we go. This was sent to me by Scott Hughes. He sent me several from Ollie's, where Hasbro toys go to die. So I only need one of these Walmart Retro HISSes. Again, thanks to Scott Hughes for these. I will be using the rest of this vehicle, minus the turret, for next week's custom video. Most of us have opened one of these Walmart Retro HISSes. Pretty straightforward. All I needed out of this was the turret, and 2 stickers for this turret. Got the dual 90mm cannon control sticker on. There we go. It's all we needed from this vehicle. Now we'll just put it aside and we'll keep moving on. We're making use of all the parts. Nothing's going to waste. So if you look down inside the turret, there's a ring for the figure to stand. This turret just sits right on top of the ring. And you can still put another 4-inch figure right here, or 3 3/4 O-ring, whatever. So this thing just literally stands right there. And then when you no longer want it, just take it off. Convert it right back to 1/12 scale. Easy peasy. Now the seats I'm going to do some work to no matter what, because obviously this off-white whatever color is going to be a really big contrast in this vehicle cockpit. Plus, I no longer have the screws or the floorboard of the Fortnite Whiplash to hold the 2 halves of the seats together. So I'm going to do a little work on this, and then we will get to it. I took a piece of the cardboard from the box of the Fortnite Whiplash, and I made a really quick template, and out of the template I took a piece of styrene and I just cut basically a shelf there for this turret to sit on, and then that way I don't ever have to worry about it rocking or shifting or anything like that. So what I'm going to do is, while I'm doing work on the seats, I'm going to also paint that piece of styrene either red or black. I haven't decided yet, just so it's not such an eyesore down inside of that turret. And then I'm going to sticky tack this turret onto the piece of styrene, and then that template just fits right in there. And then that way it's never going to move, because we have the bottom on the styrene sheet and the underside of the cannon assembly rests right on this rail. And then this thing can still traverse on its own as well. Okay, so we've got the main turret, guns, cannons, fire-linked cannons, whatever. I guess they're independent now. We got that put on. What I did not put on this was the armored cowl piece in the front. I don't want that on there because of the height of it, and I need my 4-inch character, who is going to be Destro. I need Destro to stand right here on this edge, and then just put his hands in there like that. And Destro just stays there.
So again, we are not making any modifications, permanent modifications to the HasLab HISS at all. The only things that I'm doing are temporary. What I did remove, if you see this hole right here, I removed the, I guess, handlebar fire control. I removed that from the turret. And because it's such a soft plastic, you know, the duro on this is really malleable. Again, don't look at my finger. Don't look at it. Because the duro is so malleable, just a little bit of heat, it just popped right out. Now, what I will do with this is I'll just put it in a parts bag with some of the other accessories that I'm not using from the HasLab HISS, and I'll just keep it. So no matter what, I can just push that right back in here, and there you go. It's ready to go back to 1/12 scale. So we have our turret on. We stand destro on this lip right here. Oh, before I forget, there is my piece of styrene, painted black. It's just sitting right there. And again, it's temporary. I can pull it out. I can put it back because it's all going to come together here in a second. So James McCullen destro is going to go right here, lock his arms in, and he is just standing right here on this rail. And basically the friction of his hands kind of keeps him in there, and it, you know, it looks like he's working the fire controls. Destro's good to go. I have a Walmart Retro Cobra Trooper to go with the turret for my Walmart Retro HISS 3. And again, all we're going to do with this, we're just going to stand it right there. And that's it. I mean, that's all you need. So the T&E for everything, which is the traverse and elevate, that's all good to go. I know this is a lot of shit going on in this turret now, but we're going to mount them to the 3 o'clock and the 9 o'clock. And it's Death Blossom. I don't know. 360 degrees of pure Cobra awesome. I don't even need to have these on here, honestly. I could do without them. I do have to agree, a lot of these classified guns are gummy. But whatever. That's not what we're here for. We're just here to make a little conversion. Sure. So, in theory, the gunner in the HISS 3 turret has 3 very potent weapon systems at his disposal, but it kind of looks like a Neil Peart drum kit. I don't know. It's very busy, and I'm not the biggest fan of busy. So I don't know if I'm going to keep those on there or not. It just looks funky. I'm just going to put them like that at the high ready, and that's acceptable for me. So there we go. We got destro, gunner. I'm still waiting on the seats to dry. I mounted some rifles in the back here in the troop compartment. I also took that jump seat out because what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand a bunch of dismounts. All right, so now that we have the turret all worked out for 1/18 scale, as I was waiting for paint to dry, I started messing with towable options. All right, so now we're going to take a look at my solution for a towable that fits with the hull dimensions of this colossal HISS, super HISS, whatever you want to call it, and accommodates 1/18 scale. So I decided against the HMS missiles. I decided against that because that is squarely something that's pre-existing based on the SMS, but scaled to 1/12. And these tires, which are cool because they are soft. I do appreciate that touch. Tires like this compared to a 4-inch figure, yeah, they exist. I'm sure we've all seen a large, military tire or construction tire that size compared to a 6-foot human. So what I decided to do was this. So I'm going to take this asp, remove the actual anti-aircraft pod from its towable, because again, we need something that's to scale, and this just, I don't know, it doesn't look as awesome, I guess I would say. It doesn't look as cool. Plus I get to incorporate aspects of the classified HMS, even though this does fit. So I didn't want to do this. It just looks, that looks weird. I don't like that. You go from one scale to another scale and it's too obvious. But what I can do is I can take the anti-aircraft gun off the base. And again, sticking with the theme of this conversion, it's not necessarily a custom, it's more of a conversion. I'm not making any permanent modifications to any of this stuff. All I'm gonna do, I don't know why this one doesn't flip all the way up. It's like goofy. But that one flips up flush. This one doesn't like to, but whatever. I don't want to be a classified hater. All I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna hook this up. Just like that. Put the troop ramp down. And I'm just going to seat this on here. And now we have the anti-aircraft portion of this asp in red because it kind of matches the black and red theme of everything else. I didn't want to use a blue one. But it's attached to the HMS trailer. And again, it fits in that peg hole where the HMS missile launcher would seat down into. All I did was take it off the base of the asp, clicked it right down in here. I can remove it. I mean, that's it. But because the trailer matches the scale of the actual HISS, the smaller asp doesn't look like such an eyesore now. So now we're starting to get this vehicle put together. I've got all of my crew ready to go. I'm just waiting on the seats to finish drying so I can put them in, throw the gull wing canopy on, and then we'll finish this sucker up. But you don't want to rush paint drying, and I don't want to damage the actual base vehicle of the HasLab Classified HISS. And the more I put my hands on this vehicle, it's not bad, but there's some things that are a little chintzy about it. So I just have to thank Jeff W. because again, at least I didn't pay an exorbitant amount of money for this thing. Okay, so once the paint dries, we'll finish it up. Okay, so I changed the angle of the camera for this specific part of the conversion because ever since I said I was going to do a 1/18 scale conversion on this HISS, a lot of people have been saying, well, how are you going to fit two 4-inch figures in that cockpit. You can't fit two 4-inch figures in that cockpit. Let me tell you, this thing is roomy. It's not just the chair with the 5-point harness and the heads-up display. There's a lot more going on inside this cockpit. And it's very simple. We took the seats from the Jazzwares Fortnite Whiplash, painted them, okay? Black and red. Matches the color scheme of the rest of the vehicle. Nothing too shocking, doesn't stand out. Yeah, the red's a little glossy, whatever, it's fine. But all we have to do, you take the shoulder straps of the 5-point harness and just lie them down. You take the waist straps and pull them out. You know, they just go right in the sides, so they can be removed. Then you take this seat right here and you just set it down in there. Just like that. Now we just put figures in it. Going to use a retro Cobra Commander. Get in it. And then we're going to take another retro Cobra Trooper. And there's just like this dance you have to do where you're trying to fit the figure under the 5-point harness. There we go. And you can do whatever you want with this. You can lap belt it. You can put it over their shoulders. However you want to do it. But there you go. Two 4-inch figures easily fit in the cockpit of the Classified HISS. And you can either use the 5-point harness as shoulder belts. You could use them as lap belts. You could not use them at all. Whatever you want to do. But there you go. And it looks just fine. And then I have a Delta 17 figure in the asp because O-ring figures fit a lot better in the cage of the asp, and red and black, right? Kind of trying to keep with a red and black theme as much as possible, but it's good to go now. Now I just have to put the gull-wing canopy on and we're off to the races with this 118 conversion for the Classified HasLab HISS. No permanent modifications.
Oh my God! Wow!
Okay, so we have the gull-wing canopy on the vehicle. Again, two 4-inch 118 scale figures in that cockpit. Fits just fine. Going up the doors. There you go. Take a good look at both those figures in there. And, you know, the heads-up display, it actually works really well with two 4-inch figures. They look like they know what they're doing. So, this vehicle is done.
That's rad.
In summary, working front to back, the only modifications that I made to this vehicle was I put the front seat of a Jazzwares Fortnite car, painted it black and red to match the vehicle. I didn't do anything permanent. The seats just set right in there. Canopy closes perfectly. There is no lack of headroom inside this vehicle whatsoever. And everybody fits just fine there. I removed the handlebar style controls for the dual cannons just so one of my 4-inch figures would fit there. And again, very soft duro, very malleable. I just took it out with a little heat. It came right out. I could put it right back in. but it allows my 4-inch figure to stand there on that gun, and everything works just fine here. Then I took the turret from a Walmart Retro HISS 3, set it right there on a sheet of styrene. I set the guns up at the high ready, and that's all the modifications that I did to this vehicle, the HISS itself, to allow it to accommodate 4-inch figures. So 2 in the cockpit, 2 in the turret, 1 facing to the 12 o'clock, 1 to the 6 o'clock. And again, the turret does still, it will still traverse. I didn't mess with the traverse on it. And it can hold 4 4-inch figures in the back. I just popped off the jump seat. And again, I put that to the side. I took the missile rack for the HMS off, and I put the actual AAA or anti-aircraft artillery portion of an ASP. The towable matches the oversized scale of the vehicle that's towing it, so it doesn't become like a large vehicle is towing something very tiny and just look ridiculous. So there we have it. Pretty awesome. I'm pretty happy with it. And you can strip all that stuff out in a matter of 2 minutes and put all the original stuff back in place. The only thing that's really subtractive of the original 112 scale is taking the HMS missile launcher and replacing it with the 118 scale ASP. Everything else, pop those seats out, the original 112 scale seats in there, pull this turret out, take out the styrene baseboard, and a 6-inch figure will just go right back in it. Cool.
So there we have it. 3 simple pieces to convert the HasLab Classified HISS into 118 scale. It's the seats out of the Jazzwares Fortnite Whiplash car. It's the turret from the Walmart Retro HISS 3. And the only reason I say that vehicle in particular is because it's relatively easy to find and it's pretty cheap these days. And a small piece of styrene. That's it.
And knowing is half the battle.
Anybody can do this conversion. And once again, there is no damage and nothing permanent done to this vehicle to convert it to 118 scale. If you want to go back to 112 scale, just pull a couple of pieces out and that's it. I didn't remove anything from this vehicle except for a couple of parts that I went over that just plug right back in. Very simple stuff. Once again, I have to give a huge shout out and thank you to my friend Jeff W. for gifting me this HasLab Classified HISS so I could even attempt to do this 118 scale conversion. So Jeff, thank you again, my friend. I'd like to thank all my subscribers. Again, if you're new here, maybe just consider hitting the subscribe button, click the notification bell so you get notified every time I put out new content, which I put out a new video every Monday morning at 7 a.m. And don't forget to come back for the live streams Wednesday night at 7 p.m. And I just hit my microphone. Again, thank you to all my channel members. I couldn't do what I do if it wasn't for you. If you're not a channel member, maybe consider joining. You get a lot of cool perks. Links in the description below. And as always, my friends, leave a comment below. Let's talk some Joe and have an awesome day.